Welcome back. In this video we're going to start talking a little bit further about Blueprint. I am going to be doing quite a bit of talking because this is designed for a beginner, so sorry if I irritate you. Also, I've had a cough for about a couple of weeks. If my voice sounds kind of weird, sorry, I apologize for that, but not much I can do about that. So, Blueprint. We're going to go ahead and we're going to see an example of Blueprint. So I sat down and I thought, well, what could I do for this video in terms of Blueprint? And there's just so many things you can do. I mean, you can set up gameplay, you could set up puzzles, you could set up so many different things. So I was looking around the Unreal Wiki and I noticed that there's a lot of cool Blueprint tutorials and stuff on there. So if we go over here to the help menu and you go to Wiki, it's going to take you to this Unreal 4 Wiki. And in the Unreal 4 Wiki, there's a Blueprint automated tutorial. So let me go back to the main page, which is probably what I should have done in the first place. So here's the main page, and there's lots of cool content here, lots of stuff for you to read. In my experience, most people don't want to sit down and read stuff. They just want to see results. They want to get in there and do stuff. And that's one of the reasons why video tutorials are so popular. So if we go to tutorials over here and we scroll down, we'll see that there's a lot of Blueprint stuff over here in this category, right? Lots and lots of Blueprint stuff. Blueprint light switch tutorial, Blueprint lift tutorial, Blueprint networking, lots of cool stuff. Okay. So with this Blueprint video that I wanted to do, I wanted to do something that was simple enough for complete beginners to basically the programming in general, right? Not just Blueprint, but people who have never programmed anything, but have cool ideas in their heads and a motivation to want to create some cool gameplay stuff with Unreal 4. Why not, right? So I was looking through here and I saw this automated door tutorial. And if we go to it, it's a pretty long tutorial. It talks about a lot of different things in Blueprint. If you go through this, you will learn lots of different things, how to set up components in your blueprints, how to set up a blueprint actor that's placeable in the level, how to set up movement and events, lots of cool stuff that's going to help you learn Blueprint. So before you ask, well, why in the world are you doing a tutorial about a tutorial? Well, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to find an example that I could put together really fast to get this video out as quickly as possible. But I also wanted to go ahead and do a video on something like this because a lot of times, or most of the time for complete beginners, it's really difficult to go through tutorials that are all text-based, right? You read through the steps, you go through step 1, step 2, step 3. By the time you get to the 20th or the 30th step, there's a good chance, just statistically it happens, that you may have missed something, right? So maybe you're following step 2 down here of what the author is saying. You do the stuff that you think you're reading, and then you get the wrong results, and you get stuck, and you start pulling your hair out and banging your head against the wall, and you can't figure it out. And usually you do this when you're alone in front of your computer. You can't just ask a tutor or an industry pro, hey, how in the world do I do this? It's not working, right? There isn't like some hotline you can call to Epic Games and just ask them on the phone, hey, I was following this tutorial and I clicked this thing and that thing and I plugged that, but the whole thing just crashed. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Can you help me make my game? It's not going to happen. So you're pretty much on your own. So this information is great. In this tutorial, I've looked over it. It's actually really good. But for complete beginners, it can be a little bit daunting. Especially if you scroll down, there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of steps, right? So I thought, well, it might be easier for complete beginners to see somebody actually do it in front of them in a video, step by step, nice and slowly, taking you by the hand. And if that's the kind of tutorial you were looking for, you came to the exact right place, because that's exactly what I intend to do with the next series of videos, okay? So I'm going to do this tutorial basically and let you see how it works. I'm going to put my own kind of twist on it, and I'm going to kind of go off the beaten path, so to speak, and kind of do my own thing with it. The other cool thing about this tutorial, one of the reasons why I chose to do it this way, was that if right at the beginning, under overview, you notice that there's these assets that are included, right? So if you right click on this and go to save link as, you can save a zip that contains the textures and materials for this door back here, as well as the door frame and the door itself. And don't worry about the character. The character, this tutorial was done using the third-person shooter template example. I'm using the first-person shooter example. Why? I don't know. I like first-person shooter games. I also like third-person shooter games. Let's just say I flipped the coin and the first-person shooter game won. So anyway, it'd be really helpful for you if you want to follow along. You don't have to, but if you want to go ahead and download those assets so that you can use them and follow along with the tutorial. So let me jump back into Unreal. And I want to show you what we're going to end up creating at the end of this tutorial, right? So I'm going to go to the content browser, and I have a folder here called My Blueprints, and I created this door. And it should look familiar. It's the door from the tutorial we just saw. And it looks like a static mesh. This, in fact, is not a static mesh. It's actually a blueprint, even though it looks like a static mesh thumbnail. So you're probably asking right now, well, what's the difference? The static mesh is like a stick in the mud. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there and stares at you all day and night and doesn't do a thing. A blueprint is very smart. It does stuff. It can follow you, it can do your homework, it can jump, it can kick, it can shoot you, it can defend you against a zombie horde of enemies that are storming you. Blueprints can do lots of different things. Pretty much they can do anything that you want them to, as long as you know how to tell them how to do it. And that's the tricky part. So let me do this. Let me tear my content browser off here real quick. And I'm going to drag and drop this guy right here in my level. Alright. And I'm going to rotate this guy like so. And there we go. So I've got this guy right here. And if I look at this guy, and let me dock the content browser and jump back in over here. If I look at this door, it's got a few different things here. Okay, it's got this weird yellow box that kind of goes through it in the front and the back. It's also got this thing down here that says door opened. If I click on it, I can actually select that and I can move it. And you're probably wondering, well, what in the world is that thing? I'm going to move this about negative 300 units. I could go ahead and type that into Z, negative 300. Don't worry about what I'm doing right now. I just want to show you what we're going to end up with as a final result. Then we're going to worry about recreating this and making it happen. So that's done. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into the game. And here's my character. I'm staring right at the door. And I'm going to walk up to this door and see what happens. So I'm going to walk up to him. Oh, we've got some steam coming out from the top. And then the door opens. Okay, we have a second door because apparently I must have dropped in two and not even realized it. Anyway, the door is then going to close. The other door opened. Bunch of crazy stuff going on. Okay, so let me take this blueprint here. I'm going to get rid of it. And that should do it. Where's that second door? Huh. Got a second door over here. And I know what that, I had another door that was hidden. Sorry about that. So I'll unhide it. This is the original. I was actually going to show you this one, and I had it hidden. H hides them. Control H brings it back, and I completely forgot. But it's the same thing. It's a door. You walk up to it. The gears start to rev up. Some steam comes out. The door opens almost all the way, so we can walk right over this little lip of the door and just keep going along our merry way. And the cool thing is the door closes automatically after a little while. So it's pretty neat sort of blueprint to set up. It's also a very easy example. Anybody can do it. It's very easy to do. and by setting this up, we're going to be able to learn a lot about Blueprint. So if I double click on that door blueprint, we're going to see we have a few different things here. We've got this event graph, and we've got a bunch of nodes. It's actually not that many. Usually blueprints can get pretty big. I've made blueprints that are just, you zoom out and the whole screen's just covered in nodes and functions and all kinds of crazy stuff. But this is what we have, and I'm going to teach you how to build this, and I'm going to explain every step of the process. Every time we connect something to something, I'm going to stop and I'm going to explain why I'm doing it, how it works, and, well, why we're doing it. That way you can understand and really get a hold of this. So it might be a little bit more interesting than just reading the text tutorial. You'll be able to see me actually do it, and I'll walk you through it. Okay? So, and we'll also talk about the blueprint interface, the UI, what all this stuff means. Why is there all these windows all over the place? Why is the UI gray and dark like this? We're going to be going over all this stuff. Okay, cool. So let me save that. I'm going to end this video here, and in the next one, we're going to go ahead and get started.